even people on my team ask this
Mhm.
question of, hey, is this a good deal? Hey, is this a deal we should move forward with? So I wanted to kind of cover that. So let me share my
Yeah.
screen real quick. All right. All right, cool. View. Let's see if I can do this. Slideshow. Cool. Can you see this?
Mhm. Yes.
All right, let's try this out. So, how do I know if I have a good deal? Understanding price equity versus term equity. Okay, so I'm going to kind of break down those two things and then talk about really the importance of term equity. Okay, so first thing, what is a good deal? So I would start by just saying that a good deal is simply a deal that makes your life better.
Okay.
I think sometimes like we can overcomplicate this and like everyone's going to define that a little bit differently, right? So the thing I really wanted to emphasize is it's not always about just the numbers on the spreadsheet.
Hmm.
If this property is in California and the numbers are great, but you got tenants that are bothering you and there's 2-year eviction laws and all this kind of stuff, and it's just not something you want to deal with. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
kind of get to the phase where, it's different if you're wholesaling because
Yeah.
that deal makes your life better because you make a fee and then you're done with it.
Yeah.
But if you're buying rentals and wraps and stuff like that, like you got to take those other things into account. Okay.
Hmm.
So next thing, here's some examples of kind of different investor goals. So some investors want fast cash, some care more about like long-term wealth, like rentals, some want like purely passive income, right? And they don't care so much about the appreciation. And so it all depends on your goals, right? So here's the important thing is that every good deal needs equity. So we're equity buyers first
Hmm.
and cash flow comes second. Okay, so
Okay.
there's two types of equity. There's price equity and there's term equity. Most investors only really focus on the first one, which is price
Sure.
equity. And so I think most y'all know this, right? So it's like price equity is usually 70% or 75% of after repair value minus repairs, right? So
Yep.
this is when you're flipping and wholesaling and all that good stuff. Typically, you're targeting like a 10 to 15% return on profit margins. Price equity example, real quick,
Hmm.
300K ARV. Let's say it's a 20K repair budget. You're going to take that 70%, brings you to 210, 210 minus the 20. What's your max allowable offer? 90,000, 190,000. Okay, cool. So we get that part. Now, here's the limitation of price equity.
Hmm.
Most sellers are not able, and you've probably seen this, Alex.
Hmm.
Most people either will not or just can't afford to accept an offer that low.
Yep.
So if you only rely on this rule of 70% minus repairs, you're eliminating probably 50, 60, 70% of the sellers that you're talking to,
Yep.
maybe more, right? And so we need to figure out how can we make money in between 75% and
Hmm.
100% of value.
Yep.
Because there's a ton of opportunity there. Like out
Yep.
of the sellers you've talked to, that's probably been the majority of them,
Yeah.
right? And so if we don't understand that, then we're kind of just wasting
Hmm.
deals and money and marketing and lead flow, right?
Yep.
So the answer is term equity. Okay. So what is term equity? First thing we have to understand is, and I'm telling you right now, I'm so passionate about this concept because a lot of people don't focus on it. And if you understand this, this will change your investing career moving forward because
Okay.
price is a function of terms. So something
Mm.
only costs something because of the terms involved, right? So
Sure.
there are five major deal terms. The first is price, right? Is what we talked about. The second
Hmm.
is down payment. How much money
Yep.
do you have to put to get into the deal?
Hmm.
Third one is your monthly payment.
Yep.
Fourth one is interest rate. And the fifth one is like the length of the loan or the term
Yep.
or some kind of balloon payment. We have to pay it
Hmm.
all off at one point.
Yep.
Now, let me ask this question. Why did I say monthly payment and interest rate? Like, why would you separate those two?
So, you think of the monthly payment as, affecting your monthly cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the interest rate is, looking at how much would you be able to change that monthly payment up or down. So as a for instance, I don't know what the prime rate is right now, but I think we're higher than it was, say, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So an interest rate from a loan that started 6 years ago is going to be more attractive than, a similar loan today.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I want to specify this too because I made the mistake early on of assuming that the only way, like if you're doing a seller finance deal where there's no, let's say there's no mortgage, just in this example, and
Mhm.
you're creating terms, and let's say you decide to do a 30-year term, because that's just kind of standard, right? So you do a 30-year term, and then to get the payment to a certain number, you start changing the interest rate, right?
Mhm.
Which is kind of that's what I used to do.
Okay.
So what I did on my personal residence, here's a big mistake that I made,
Mhm.
was that I wish this would quit hitting that. It's so annoying. Okay. So what I made is that I got to the point where this guy said, "Hey, I want, $200,000 for the house. I want 40K down, so I owe him 160, right?" And I
Yep.
said, "Okay, based off that 160, where do you want your payment to be?" And he told me, "Well, I want it to be around 600 bucks a month." And so what I did was at a 30-year term at like just principal 0% payments, that
Mhm.
payment was only like 400 a month. So then what ended up happening was I raised the interest rate
Mhm.
to 2.5 to try to get him to that number that he wanted.
Okay.
What should I have done instead?
Reduce the length of the loan.
Yes, I should have raised the payment to the number he wanted, but kept it at 0%,
Yep.
which would have reduced the length of term by probably 4 years,
Yeah.
maybe longer, maybe more, right? And so I guess that's all I'm trying to say is that, okay, I'm gonna report this. This is getting annoying. Get out of here. All right. So does that make sense? That's why the monthly payment and the interest rate are different in this example. Okay.
Yep.
So term equity. So one thing that you have to understand is that like most investors only negotiate on price. They're just
Mhm.
throwing out cash offers.
Yep.
And we want to be able to negotiate on all five of those terms. Okay.
Yeah.
Because what matters is obviously equity first, like we talked about, but
Mhm.
also cash flow, long-term wealth. And so you want to build all these things holistically. At least that's what we're doing in our business. So instead of
Mhm.
just flipping everything or just buying everything as rentals or just owner financing everything, we're trying to kind of do all three holistically and making sure you have enough cash coming in from wholesaling and flipping and wholetailing, things like that to keep your business going, right? And to build our infrastructure and pay the team and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately the goal, like I don't think anybody gets to their golden years and says like, I want to flip 10 houses a month at 80 years old. It's like nobody wants to do that. You know what I mean? If you do, you're kind of crazy, right? Okay, so let's kind of go through this example. Here's a thought experiment. Let's say the value of the house is 300,000. Okay.
Yep.
Let's say they want $400,000.
Mhm.
I would say no to that on the front end, right? But just play
Yeah.
a game with me. What if the terms were dramatically different? Like
Mhm.
what terms would have to be. Imagine this. Like, let's say you get $0 down, so no down payment. Let's say it
Mhm.
was 0% interest. Let's say it was $1 per month to own the property, and it was 100 years to pay it off. Would that deal make sense now?
Yes.
Okay. So this kind of proves just a point that it's like,
Mhm.
again, price is a function of terms, right? And this is a
Yep.
very extreme example, but when you start understanding um, the time value of money, how much a dollar costs now compared to 30
Mhm.
years from now, locking
Yep.
in some of these payments can be helpful. Okay.
Yep.
So, again, like I'm saying one more time, you want to try to get a deep discount if you can, right? I'm
Mhm.
not saying you should go and try to pay 100% of value or 200% of value. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But most of your opportunities, especially if you're spending money on marketing, are
Mhm.
going to exist between that 75% and ideally 90% of value.
Okay.
So that's important to understand.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to give you an example of that we did. So after repair value is 585, purchase price was $450,000.
Uh-huh.
This does not meet the 70% rule, right?
Mhm.
But the terms made the deal actually work for us. Okay. So what we did was we gave her a down payment of $30,000,
Mhm.
interest rate of 0%, monthly payment, basically $1,100 a month. The market rent's $2,700 a month, and the loan term was 30 years. So most of the offers that she was getting was
Hmm.
in the 300,000, 330, 340, and I just asked her what price she wanted,
Yep.
and she told me I want 450, which is still, it's not you're not paying market value for
Yeah.
it, but it's not a good flip opportunity.
Yeah.
So sometimes giving people their number is more important to them than kind of how stupid it is to sell a house at 0% for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just straight
Yeah.
up. And the reality is there were other things in that deal that made it make sense for that
Hmm.
seller. There was IRS debt, the car was about to be repoed, she wanted
Yeah.
a new job. She really wanted like that top value, like so that whenever I did sell it or refinance it, her kids got that. Like there were some other things in there. The deal went south, actually. 8 months after that, she was very upset. But it
Unfortunate,
is what it
but
is. Unfortunate. I know. I like literally the whole time was there with her, and it's just like it's kind of been like, when are you going to pay this off? And I'm like, not anytime soon. So,
you gave
sorry.
me good terms. Why would I?
Yeah, I was like, you knew what we were signing up for. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's not the one eventually would be for your mom.
yeah, it is.
It is. How did it go south?
Just the seller's just been difficult
Mm,
since then. Remember, she like left like all those bad reviews and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I didn't know she was still a problem with it. Huh.
Every once in a while, she'll pop up.
Yeah.
She'll just text me, and it's usually when she's, yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk about that, but
Okay.
just crazy. Okay. Now, I want to give a different example, and this is really like the whole point of this call is to talk through this deal because this one was very like difficult. This is one that we had not too long ago
Hmm.
that was very disappointing at first. Like we got this under contract, like we were stoked about it. We're like this is a killer deal. We're going to make, 70, 80 grand on it, like all that.
Hmm.
And it just went south. So I'm going to kind of break this down. Stop me if any of this is confusing or you have questions. Okay, so after repair value 430,000,
Yep.
rehab needed 90,000.
Yep.
Our purchase price 178,000.
Hmm.
So this meets the 70% rule, right? But here's the problem that came up during the title search. There was a $54,000 lien
Hmm.
that popped up in second position that was
Hmm.
there. Okay.
What does
Now,
second position mean again? Remind me. Some two people.
so whenever you get your mortgage, that mortgage generally is in first position. And if you get like a HELOC or some kind of lien or judgment, that would be in like second and third and fourth position
Got it. Thank you.
on title. Yeah, yeah. Good question.
So
Um,
then, and this is what's the rules governing like when liens have to be paid off?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this lien, I'm gonna kind of get into like what this was.
Yeah.
But generally when someone goes to sell a house, you're
Hmm.
supposed to pay off a mortgage or a lien. Like that's
Yeah.
standard, right? So in this case, same thing, this $54,000 lien that was in second position
Hmm.
is added to the mortgage that they already had, or our purchase price of 178.
Yep.
So the effective new purchase price was $232,000.
Okay.
Okay, so this deal no longer fits the 70% rule.
Yep.
So then it's like we're going from, oh, we're gonna make 60, 70 grand to like no deal.
Yeah.
You see how that's disappointing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
especially when you put in all this work, like we drove an hour and a half to go see it, like just all this kind of stuff, right? So, when we looked into this further, you can kind of decide like, would you walk away? Would you like try to like crunch the numbers, see if you can make it work and make 10 grand, or like maybe hope that you can wholesale it? And this is what a lot of people do is they'll like get under contract and they like hope they can find some kind of crazy buyer that just doesn't know what they're doing, right? I wouldn't recommend those strategies. What we did is we found out that this 54,000 lien was a rural housing development lien. So like basically it wasn't down payment assistance. It was like they got behind in the past,
Mm.
$54,000, which is crazy. But they got behind that amount. They did a loan modification. They put it on the back end of the loan. But this 54,000 is at 0% and there's no monthly payment. It's just sitting there. And it has to be paid off basically by the end of the length of the first mortgage.
Mm.
So the first mortgage has 26 years left. At that time, that 54,000 has to be paid, or when you go to sell it, it has to be paid.
So it's not accruing interest, nothing. There's just $54,000 tacked on to the length of the loan. So
That's right.
26 years later, they pay off their loan or whatever, sell the house 26 years, then there's still this sitting amount of money of 54K.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know. It's really interesting. And this happens a lot, like especially with foreclosures, it's like super common. Um,
So
yes.
yeah, so then in that specific, situation, since you have this, effectively interest-free, lien sitting on it, would it make sense to hold it as a rental? So
Hmm.
that way, they can just sit there and then you can, pay down the primary, the first lien, and then when you're ready to exit, then hopefully by that time you'll have either accrued money to pay that off, or
Hmm.
54,000 won't be as valuable.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're thinking the right way. The only thing we have to think about with this deal, and this is why this is so complicated. Think about this with me for a second. How much did we say this house needs in renovation?
90.
Yeah. So
That's
does it
two
make
thirds of it.
yeah. So does it make sense to renovate it for 90 plus we
Hmm.
had to reinstate the loan for like 40 grand?
Okay.
So it like at that point does it make sense to do all this stuff to keep it as a rental? For me probably not.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so much work. And then at the
Yeah.
same time, like the reason why we do creative finance is because the terms are great,
Hmm.
right? And so if we have to put all this money into the deal, well, the
Hmm.
terms aren't that good if we have to sink 40% into it. That's one
Hmm.
of the terms that we talked about, right?
Yep.
And if we're not getting it at 70% anymore, then we
Hmm.
can't get our money back out by refinancing it
Yep.
because we're sinking money into it, which is the
Yep.
mistake I've made over and over and over and over, right? So here's what we did instead. Instead of paying it off, we took it subject to, just like we are the first mortgage. So we took the first mortgage subject to, which had roughly 140,000 on it, and then we took the second one subject to, right? The payment on their mortgage was about $800 a month, and that second lien we just kept it in place with no payments, okay? Rather than doing the $90,000 rehab, we decided to sell the property as is, offering
Hmm.
owner financing. So we wrapped it.
Hmm.
And this changed the risk profile for us because we don't have to do the rehab.
Hmm.
So here's kind of how it worked. The cash required into the deal, and we're going to break this down each of like the profit centers in this, okay? First is we spent 40 to reinstate the loan to bring it current. It was behind. Plus $10,000 to Griffin on my team, as well as a real estate agent that brought us the buyer. So I paid the agent. She's actually in the community. Her name is Isabel. She's awesome. Brought us a buyer. So our total cash into the deal was 50 grand. So we spent 50,000 to get into this deal. Second thing, sales price. We sold the property for 295 as is.
Hmm.
Okay. So instead of trying to rehab it to get 430, we sold it as is at 295. They gave us 30K down. Okay. That means what? Their mortgage with us is 265,
Hmm.
right? Interest rate of 6.7%. So their monthly payment to us is $1,700 a month. Okay. So those are kind of like the generic numbers. And here's kind of what that means. So they pay us 1,700 a month. Our underlying is what? 800.
800. Yep.
The monthly cash flow is $900 per month on this property that we sold as is.
Hmm.
Annual cash flow, let's say it's 11,000 a year, right? Now, there's
Hmm.
a couple factors when you look at the profit on this deal. The first is what's the equity position that we captured, right? Because we have a note. Like when we sell this property on owner financing, we create a mortgage or a deed of trust in Tennessee and a note. That note is payable to us. That's an asset, right? When a bank has a mortgage, that is their asset.
Hmm.
They're owed that money. So we're owed 265. How much do we owe between the first mortgage and the second one that we took sub two? 192. So what's the difference between those two? 73,000. Okay. What is the 73,000 number? What does that equate to in real terms? Like, why is that important to understand that number?
Using the terms of this deal, you've essentially created an asset that's worth $73,000.
Yes. And when do we realize that 73,000?
when the buyer refinances or sells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when that buyer goes to sell or refinance this property, they have to pay us off at 265 or whatever their balance is at that time, right? And both of these are paying down,
Mhm.
right? So at that point, let's say it's 5 years from now, you get a call from the title company and they're like, "Hey, we need a payoff statement," and you're getting
Mhm.
a check for 70,000 or maybe more, because a lot of times your loan is paying down faster than the other one.
So really quick, because I'm slower when it comes to math related things.
Me too.
I'm followed. Give me foreign language all day, but I followed, but then got lost. How are you getting the 73,000, the 192? I understand that they're paying whatever as is, 295 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Hmm.
So where are you getting the 265, the 192? I'm just trying to wrap my head around those pieces.
Yeah. No, yeah, I want everyone to understand it. So if we sold it for 295 and they
Okay.
gave us a 30K down payment.
So 265, got it.
So that's their mortgage with us.
Okay.
That's what they owe us. The 192 is the first mortgage that we took over that was roughly 140
Okay.
plus the $52,000 lien that popped up
Okay.
that
Okay,
we
got
also
it.
took over. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah.
So
So
where are you
that's
getting
what
the
we
equity created in the note, that 73? That's where I got lost.
that's the 265,000 number minus 192.
Okay. Okay.
So the difference between basically what they owe us
Yep.
versus what we owe.
What, right, when you took it over from Joe and Jane or
Yes,
whatever. Now you
exactly.
resold it at a higher price, if you will. You
Hmm.
only owe essentially 192. They owe, okay, got it.
Yeah.
However, let's say tomorrow you're like, I don't want this property anymore. Then what?
The thing is I don't own the property anymore.
Because they're the mortgage payers.
They're the owners, and I'm acting as their bank.
Oh, so they're paying you.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They're
had a
paying us 1,700 a month, and we pay
And
whatever it is.
how did you, I guess this is stuff that I'm still new to, but
No, it's okay.
how'd you
Yeah.
set that part up that you're the bank when you're not a bank? Through the agent? Through,
Hmm. So the thing is anyone can create a mortgage. Like you don't have to be a bank to create a mortgage,
okay,
right? Like when we do seller financing, like when I bought this house, my personal residence, I bought it on seller financing. I asked the seller to be my bank, and he created a mortgage that I owe. Like if you go up, look it up on, you search us on title, you'll look that the lender is David Tant. That's his name.
okay.
So he's my bank, and I pay him every single month, just like you would at any other bank.
If you fail and default on your mortgage, does he owe it or no?
My bank here.
Yep.
So in this case, at my house, he has no mortgage on the property.
Right.
In this deal, we have a mortgage, right? But in this one, we don't have a mortgage. He doesn't. So basically, he sold me the property for a certain price.
Mhm.
I owe him, like, my mortgage was like 160 when I got it. Right now, I owe him like 150 left. So if I stop making payments, he has a lien on the property, like every other bank would. And so if I stop making payments, he has the ability to foreclose on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's his security instrument.
What's his position? What is he? Is he a realtor or is he just like you? Seller
He
finance.
he's just a normal person that had never heard
normal.
about seller financing.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man.
Let me
So
mute myself.
you learned seller financing and basically taught him about it so you could do it to your property.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Love
it's like
it.
this is the only way I could buy my house. Because
Okay.
I tried to go through a bank at the time and I couldn't get approved.
I mean, it happens sometimes that something,
Yeah.
uh,
So I've
okay.
bought one house through a bank and it was my first property ever, and I've never bought a house through a bank again. It's just easier. And that's what we were talking about earlier, the house that was at 0% interest, that's seller financing too. So as long as you can, I mean, we literally sat at the kitchen table. I mean, my house is not very big, so kitchen table is like 5 feet away from me, right? So we sat at the kitchen table, and when we talked about it, it was just a conversation of like, okay, how much do you want for the house? We negotiated a price. Okay, if I can give you that price, would you be willing to let me make payments to you over time? Like, okay, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, how much money do you need, like, now in this moment, like, to take care of your credit cards and whatever? He needed $40,000.
Uh,
So I said, okay, if I give you 40 now, that leaves us with, let's say, 160 left. And what if I paid you 600 bucks a month for that until, for the next 30 years? And he was okay with that.
And you have equity now in that house, so it's worth more. So at the end of the day, if you were to sell it for 500,000, just random number, you
Yeah.
just made that profit, plus then you can just pay him off or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like you would a bank.
Getting
Yeah.
smart. Thanks.
Yeah, you nailed it. Killed it. That's awesome. This is much more complicated than how I bought my house. There's a lot more in this,
No,
right?
but I think it's good to learn the complicated over the
Mhm.
easier layman's terms, because if you get the complicated, the other
Yeah.
stuff eventually will just get easy.
Yeah. Yeah, you just nailed it. Absolutely. So basically, this is our first thing we want to look at is like our note equity position. Okay, cool. Second thing is how much cash did we invest in this deal? So we spent 50,000 up front. How much did we get back from our buyer?
30.
30. So that means we had to invest or leave 20,000 in the deal. So we're negative 20, right? If you want to look at it that way. We didn't make 20, we basically spent 20, right? But this money can be borrowed from a private lender, which is what we did. So instead of me taking my own $20,000 and leaving it in the deal,
Mhm.
right? Because a lot of people don't just have $20,000 laying around just to leave in deals, right?
Mhm.
Especially if you do that 4 or 5 times, like that's a lot of money. So what I did is I borrowed 20,000. I pay him basically 200 bucks a month. He's in the community, actually. He's in this group. I pay him 200 bucks a month every single month to borrow that money. And what I do is I take the cash flow that I make, I take that in and I pay him 200 bucks a month off of that cash flow, right? So it's not any money out of my pocket. If the annual cash flow is 11,000 a month, a year, and you left 20,000 into the deal, what's your cash on cash return? About 55%, right? What do most people try to get on a cash on cash return?
15.
8%, 10%, 12% maybe
Mhm.
on a rental, right? And the big thing is we avoided doing the 90,000 rehab.
Mhm.
Okay. So basically the kind of key lessons here is like your price equity, right? That creates your flip profit, like where you actually get cash back in your business, right? So that if you want to leave 20,000 in a deal that you can, like that's kind of the point of doing some of these flips, right? The term equity creates the wealth and the cash flow, right? And so then the question becomes on a deal like this that most people would walk away from, including us, we almost walked away from it. Looking at it further, would you invest or borrow $20,000 to capture basically a $73,000 asset that pays you 11,000 a year, so 900 bucks a month? Like who would do that deal? Because I'll do that deal every single day of the week, right? And so that's kind of the thing. So let's kind of press pause here. I don't want to just talk the whole time, but I wanted to share like a difficult deal that we really did have, and this is a real one that we have that pays us now, and really like talk through like that's how you create like something out of nothing by just
Mhm.
understanding some deal structure. It's pretty crazy, like it's wild. So blows my mind. What questions y'all have, or maybe any deals that you want to look at? What's up?
I have a quick question. So I'll always have questions. You'll learn that.
Please,
You'll learn
questions
that.
make it fun.
That's how I learn all the most random things.
Same here.
Do you ever do deals where you're like, I need money quick in the sense of, okay, I invest in this house and next year I want to bring out cash because I want to go, for me, example, I want to buy something overseas. So, okay, I just invested in this house. You're the bank, essentially. This person's paying, but you want some of the money you've invested, if you will, to go into, you're not going to take a HELOC on your own property, essentially, because that's the person that's paying the mortgage that would do a HELOC. So how do you get your money back if you're investing in properties, but you don't want to wait 5 years, if that makes sense? Because like I would love
Mhm.
to invest in stuff in the US, let's just say Tennessee, but I don't want to stay in Tennessee long term.
Yeah.
I but I don't want to wait 5 years. What is an easier way? I'm not interested in wholesaling. What are your thoughts on that? Unless
Like
that's a whole nother conversation. I don't know.
no, there's all conversations are good here. So and you're saying kind of in this example, like where you've sold the property and they're paying you every month?
Yeah, just like you just invested just like that. Yeah. So you have like for right now, you're in this house right now. Essentially, you could sublease it and go away somewhere and someone's paying your rent and
Mhm.
you're the one that's paying the mortgage, so you could do that and keep the property. But in my case, let's say I want to go in on a deal with you. I want my
Yeah.
money back in a year or two. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess you would just pay me off in equity. How would that work? Let's say I give you,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
does
Like
that
if
make
you,
sense? Like, I don't want to put my money in a place for 5 years. I want to move overseas. Like, I'm
yeah,
dead set on moving overseas in the next 2 years.
cool.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still want to invest in the US because I understand the US system. Till I eventually learn the foreign system, which could be a whole nother thing, and I may never want to do that beyond my own property, if you will. I don't know
sure.
what that looks like down the road. It's a whole nother animal. So is that something that's possible by doing all these creative strategies?
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if you're investing with like other people, then like you would just set the timeline of like, hey, I want to be paid back in a year or two. Like, and that's an agree. Like I do deals like that all the time with people. But if you're investing in your own deals,
Yep.
then essentially what you're doing is what you're gonna have to do if you're gonna have to like if the deal makes it to where okay, there's two ways to do it. One would be make sure that your terms are good on the front end, that your down payment is equal to or less than the down payment that you're going to get from your buyer.
Okay.
So get into the deal for 20 and get a down payment for 30. Now that's easier said than done, right? I get that. So sometimes you have to leave money in deals. Sometimes it's 5, 10, $15,000. But I wouldn't let that stop you from doing it. What I would do is I would just go raise the $15,000 instead of using your own. And then that problem's solved. That 15,000 is in the deal for the next 5 years. You're paying $100 a month to borrow that. And then you still have your 20,000 to go overseas and do what you want to do with it.
Okay.
Because the
Okay.
asset itself pays for that borrowed money.
Okay.
If it cash flows 1,000 a month and you have to borrow 15,000 and pay $100 a month for it, you're still cash flowing $900 a month
Okay.
and you're
Got
not using your own money.
okay.
So there's no we don't get paid really to use our own money. We get paid to put the deal together.
Right.
Right. That's how I would think about it.
Okay. That's a lot to wrap my head around, but I
I
got it.
know, me too. And I'm talking about this because it's been such a stressor for me. Like, and I've had a lot of growing pains because I had a good bit of money saved when I first started. I did. And then I lost a lot of it after I bought this house. And then I was broke again. And then I built it back up. And as I built it back up, and as I'm still doing that in our business, I've seen the pains that come from just using my own money because I just have some money sitting around. And like I can tell you from personal experience, if you don't have over $100,000 saved, 150,000, you probably shouldn't be using your own money. That's just me. That's my personal opinion.
That sounds
Because
like
what happens
that
is if
sounds
you
like wise
don't,
advice. Yeah. You have to pull money from somewhere if something happens.
yeah, it's like you'd rather have your money for reserves. Like here's the way I think about it. If I have to go borrow, if I go put 20,000 into a deal, and let's say I have 30,000 saved, right? I put 20,000 into a deal, I got 10,000 left. If something happens, now I got to go borrow 20,000 from a private lender and try to like figure out how to do that without them knowing that I'm in a bind.
Hmm.
Versus otherwise, I borrow 20 on the front end and I'm only paying $200 a month for that, which over a 12-year over let's say over a year period, that's $2,000 a year to borrow 20,000
Okay.
basically, right? And so if you get in a pinch, it's like worst case I can always pay it off. I have the 20,000 here. I can always pay off the loan.
Mm,
But what I can't do later is like go scramble and try to find the money if something bad happens.
correct.
That's all
Okay.
I'm trying to say. And I've been there. Like I've been to the point where my HELOC on my house is maxed out. I got $40,000 that I owe. I'm in the hole. Like
I
you don't want
like
to go
that
there.
you just mentioned this now because I'm like, okay, don't use your own money if you don't have to.
Yes.
I've
I
always said OPM, other people's money, but it's getting to the OPM's part.
like actually raising it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I have no problem asking people for money. My background's in sales, but
Mhm.
it's finding, and there's a lot of people with money just sitting around that they need to just waste. Their
Yeah.
their account says, "Oh, you need to use this to go do something."
Right.
It's
Especially with that amount of money.
finding that those people that are going to trust you to say, "Hey,
Hmm.
my money, do right with it."
Totally. Yeah. That's
Relationships.
that's great.
Okay, thank
What
you.
other questions do we have? Yeah, absolutely.
Um, how would one go about using creative finance on a property that was purchased using like all private money? So
Hmm.
the deal that I'm looking at specifically, it's a substantial rehab that was purchased using like private money or hard money, and they're charging like 10% interest. So you wouldn't want to take it over subject to.
Hmm.
But I'm wondering is there another way to get terms that would work, um, to make it actually a deal without having to without asking the existing owner who owes like 200 something thousand on it
Hmm.
to have to cut a check at closing. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. How about we do this? And here's the way I would think about it. When you're looking at a deal, and Cindy and I talk about this all the time, like, how do we know if it's a deal? Here's what
Mm-hmm.
I would look at. Number one, we need to think about all five terms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, term number one, price. So, do we have price equity? Are we at 70% of value on this?
No.
Okay. So, we don't have price equity. So, that's off, right?
Yep.
Number two, down payment.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much would it cost us to get into this deal?
Ideally zero.
Ideally, zero,
Mm-hmm.
right? But considering the fact that we may not want this like toxic debt, like 10%,
Mm-hmm.
our down payment is almost the full value. It's almost a cash deal. Like we don't want to pay that off. Let's say we do keep that though. We keep that. So our down payment zero. So that's a green light. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is interest rate. No bueno, right? Bad interest
Yep.
rate. Okay, so no good. Fourth one, monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
Is the monthly payment probably compared to
It's
the rent? I'm assuming it's not great if it's 10%, but I could be wrong.
yeah, it was like 22, 23, somewhere around
Okay.
there.
Yeah. So it probably doesn't cash flow. So X. Last one is length of term.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if it's like private money or hard money or like what the length of the term is or if there's a balloon?
Well, let me actually see if I have that detail. I don't recall offhand.
What was number three again?
Number
Interest
three
rate?
was there's interest. So there's purchase price, interest rate, monthly payment.
Okay, interest rate.
Mm-hmm. Monthly
Good,
payment.
good.
Mm-hmm. And then what's the other one? Down payment. We already talked about that. Yeah. And then so Alex, let's just assume, I mean, if it's private money, I'm assuming it's probably not like a 30-year term.
It's a 12-month term.
Okay, 12-month term.
Yep.
So that term is off. So we
Okay.
have one term, which is basically down payment.
Okay.
So that tells us it's probably not a good enough terms deal.
Okay.
You want to try to usually have like 3 out of 5, I would say,
Okay.
like is kind of like a good rule of thumb. And maybe
Sure.
that helps you kind of think about it. It's like
Yeah.
if you can't have at least 3 out of 5, you probably don't have a great deal.
Okay.
Now, if you have price equity, you don't need the other terms really.
Yeah.
That's the
Could
only
be
one that kind of eliminates the rest of them.
hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Good question, but I don't think there's anything you can really do.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, but
yeah.
it doesn't. It, it. I'm not in a position to just be bailing people out for their unfortunate
No.
positions.
Dude, Cindy and I had to talk about that today. We had a
Yeah.
seller we had under contract and sweetest lady, like
Mhm.
really wanted to help her out. And I was like not looking forward to calling her and telling her that we couldn't help.
I know.
So I called Cindy after and I was just like beat up, you know. I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to the gym and just try to get my head off of it. Because it's just,
Yeah.
you build relationships with people. If you actually like are in this business to help, like it's kind of sad. You get attached to people and like you told them that you'd be able to help, and then I
Mhm.
mean, we only had a couple days due diligence to look at it, and we could tell pretty quickly that it just wasn't going to be a deal for us.
I was
But
gonna ask what the issue was, but I don't know if you want to share that.
yeah, no, it's good. I mean, the main issue is that it needed a little bit more work than what she told us. That's the first thing. But secondly, the values really weren't there compared to what we thought. After an agent went and looked at it because of where it sat location wise. And even if we sold it as is, owner financing, like could we sell it? Probably. But the problem is the house is literally like right at like a major red light.
Mm,
And it's like I was just like, I don't know. It's just kind of any little thing like that that can kind of turn buyers off. It's just something you want to be careful of. Because the
mm,
number, and that's what we talked about at the beginning of the call, is that a good deal is a deal that makes your life better, not
mm,
worse. So even if on paper it looks good, oh, mathematics, we cash flow 500 a month, blah, blah. That's if you can find a buyer, number one, right? That's if everything goes right. And if it
mm,
doesn't take you 8 months to sell it, because just because the math works doesn't mean that they're not human. They're
mm,
human just like you. You don't want to live at a major red light. Now, is there somebody maybe willing to pay for that? Yes, of course, because somebody owns the house now. But that limits your buyer pool
Mm.
tremendously. So those are the things you start kind of thinking about as we mature, because I
mm.
used to would have not thought about that at all. I've gotten lucky. I've bought some bad deals. I bought some deals that I should not have bought looking back, but it worked out. So,
I'm thinking of that trailer with the big long driveway that you
oh my
redid,
gosh.
but you did it.
We did it. That's right. We got a mobile home and it was just like the
The
driveway
driveway
was
was
like 10
unreal.
grand to do. It was just like, oh,
Oh,
it's
yikes.
horrible. It was so bad. It's just stuff you don't think about. You just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Like it sounds simple, but you just don't know until you do it. And then you're like,
I
oh,
always I always say that you don't know until you know. Till you learn
yeah,
about whatever subject you didn't know
yeah,
it before, and now you know it, and you learn from that.
Mm.
agree. It's crazy. Damon, I appreciate you being here, man. I'd love to hear a little bit more if you're okay sharing. I'd love to hear more about like maybe like where you are in your investing journey and kind of like maybe some things you're wanting to do just to see if we can help.
You're muted, Damon. There you go.
There he
That's
is.
why I was taking it off.
What's up, man?
I had a question first about what you were discussing.
Yeah. Let's talk about
When do you pay off the lien? Once they refinance or when they buy the property?
it. Yeah, so we what we're doing is we're going to be paying that off once they sell it or they refinance it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if we get to like most of these deals, like when you sell a property owner financing, most of these people will end up selling, refinancing, or defaulting within like a 5 to 7 year period on average. That's pretty standard. Now, if it starts going 20 years and we still got this thing and the 54,000 or 52,000 number hasn't paid down at all because it's not going to pay down, right? Then I think I would probably start considering paying a little bit down at a time because I don't want to have that $54,000 thing come up once they've
Yes.
paid it off, and if they've paid me down to zero and I still owe 54, that just wouldn't be a fun
Right, right.
problem to
Hey,
have.
Evan,
Hopefully that makes sense.
I was wondering why wouldn't you take, was that the one where you had a $900 spread?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put 200 toward paying that down each month, maybe? Would
You
that be
could.
worth it or no?
You totally
Yeah.
could.
Okay.
You totally could. I think the thing is that you start kind of looking at you start kind of like looking at priority of like where you want to take that profit every month, even from your whole portfolio. Like as y'all start building a portfolio of like passive income, right? Like if each property cash flows 1,000 a month or 900 a month, you have 10 of those and you got eight, nine, $10,000 a month coming in. That's a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you start getting that, maybe you have some private debt, or maybe you have a HELOC on your house, or maybe you have a car payment, or maybe you have this. And that's kind of where I am now working through some of these things mentally of how do I decide what I'm going to pay off? Because having a lien at $52,000 with no monthly payments at 0% is like an extremely efficient loan. It's free money. I don't have to pay for it. It doesn't accrue an interest. So it doesn't really make sense to take the money for that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather pay down something that's actually costing me money to borrow. So, I'll share a very interesting concept
So
if you're
are you
interested.
counting enough, making
Understandable.
enough to
Understandable.
sell it that won't hurt?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Okay, so I think I missed what you said. So when you go to sell it, you'll have to pay it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's included in that like 190 that we owe.
Okay.
hmm Look, I'll share kind of an example here of something that I've been playing with. This is just because I'm a nerd. Okay. So you have this note section here. Can y'all see this on the left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's a concept I've been looking at. It's called cash flow index. It has nothing to do really with real estate, but it does have to do with paying off debt, and it's very helpful. So essentially what this is this helps you to understand which debt to tackle first if you
Mm.
have multiple, which I think there's a lot of people in the community that probably do have multiple debts that they want to think about. What
Yes.
do I pay off, right? So for me, I'll use my example, okay? What you do is you take the principal balance of all your loans, take the principal balance, and you divide it by the monthly payment, okay? So like let's use an example for me. I'll use an example of two different loans,
Your
okay?
car.
One is my car, which I just paid off, and I'll show you why.
Woohoo.
$25,000 divided by my payment was 570 a month. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see what that gives us. And this takes into account several things. That is not the right number. I don't know what that is. So 25,000 divided by 570, that gives you a number of 43. Okay. Now I'm going to explain this in a second. Let's look at a second one. For example, the $20,000 that we borrowed on this deal. Okay. $20,000 is the balance. What is the payment every month? 12%, right? So 20,000 times 0.12, blah, blah, blah. Okay. 200. Okay. So looking at this already, what can we notice about this? The balances are basically the same, but
Mhm.
one payment is considerably higher.
Yep.
Does everyone see that?
Yep.
So in what world would it ever make sense to pay off the 20,000 first? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now it has a higher interest rate, but it's interest only. So it's
Mhm.
less of a payment. So it's like, does everyone see that? It's like if you could pay 25 to now gain back essentially 570 a month in your personal life,
Mhm.
that's better most likely than paying $20,000 to get 200 back
Yep.
a month. So what you do is you take this number, this 20,000, I'm going to lose a lot of people. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to talk about it. This is
I'm thinking already I'm going to watch this back, the
Yeah,
recording.
no, this is good. If you watch this multiple times, I promise you it will
Yeah,
help.
I'm going to need it.
Because basically the goal is anything that is below 50, anything below 50 is urgent to pay off. Because that means that that loan is not very efficient.
Mhm.
How much you owe compared to how much you pay for that loan is not efficient. Versus anything that's above 100 or at 100 is not a top priority. So like this one I would not focus on because that's pretty efficient. To
So you're,
borrow, like if you can borrow 100, like if you can borrow $100,000 and only pay, 500 bucks a month to have that, that's a really efficient loan. Does everyone agree with that? Like that's pretty cheap to have access to $100,000. So
yeah.
this is all I'm trying to say is like you want to start kind of thinking about this. Where and imagine if you had the one that's the balance is 52K, but it's $0. What is that number?
Doesn't exist.
Zero. Undefined, right? So we
Yep.
don't want to focus on that one.
Hmm.
I'll press pause. Is there like you could even look at this like we've talked about um some of your stuff that you want to pay off, that kind of thing, right? This would be a good thing to look at.
So you're paying off the high 570 to get that gone instead of the 200 a month,
Mm-hmm.
basically. That's what
Because if
makes
I get rid of this first, that opens up 570 back, which then I can use to pay off quicker the next one.
gotcha. Okay.
It's pretty crazy. I don't know. I came across this concept. I was like one night just like doing some math and I was like, this makes a lot of sense. So,
Very
anyways,
cool.
I'm
Very
getting
cool.
out of real estate talk. Any other questions that actually have to do with real estate or wraps or owner financing or cash flow? Anything?
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutos.
My head is exploding. I think that's a wrap, literally.
I think it is a wrap. This
I was
is probably the
watching,
most detailed I've gone on math, so
I was
I try
watching
to
your
stay away
face.
from.
I was
Huh?
watching her face and I'm going, oh, I'm with you.
Yeah, she's smart. She's smart. Math is
You
hard though.
you lost me. That's where I say my self-diagnosed ADHD just kicked.
I think I have
Yeah.
it too.
I keep trying to tell myself I am good with math. I am good with math.
Yeah.
I'm good with math when it comes to like my mom always taught me like go into a store, figure out the percentage. But if you have me do architecture, measuring stuff, I'm like, I mean the basics, yes, but forget it. I'm like, leave
Yeah.
the pros.
Alex, we can ask something?
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like the way that you presented it makes sense because, it's like looking at these transactions, these deals as, not just a single lever, but a multi-lever approach. And, what we get paid to do is basically use, a wide variety of tools
Yeah.
to solve problems. And, I hadn't really conceptualized it like that until you laid it out tonight. So just appreciate that.
Dude, yeah, I always appreciate you being here and like being so
Yeah.
engaged and like helping. It helps me to like kind of sharpen things up a little bit too. And yeah, I don't know. I'd love to. I don't know if you're free like maybe this weekend or early next week if you want to get coffee or something, I'd love to. But
Yeah. Yeah. I'll shoot you a
I've been
text.
so busy recently. I haven't nights have been tough, but I could always do like mornings if you can.
Right on.
Um,
Yeah. I'll shoot you a text and we're off the call.
I'd love to, dude. Yeah, for sure. Damon, anything else, man? I feel like I didn't even get to hear from you. I had a question, but
Yeah,
what?
I'm sorry. I mean to
No, it's
cut you
okay.
off.
What were you
Yeah,
saying?
I had that question about the contracts, how to learn how to fill out contracts or to
Hmm.
purchase them. And you was mentioning something, I think you wrote about transaction coordinator.
Yes. So there is a company called Creative TC,
Mm,
which I would recommend. They're great.
yes.
You can tell them that Evan sent you. I work with them a lot,
Okay.
and they'll take care of you. Um,
Yes.
and I can even send you actually the contact if you message me in school.
Yes.
I'll send you the contact of Marcelo. He actually lives in Nashville with me. He's one of my best friends. He's like the main operator of the company. He does a really good job. So he can like answer all of your questions when it comes to creative finance or how to structure it, like paperwork. Like he'll help you with all that stuff. Um,
Okay.
but I also have a video. I think it's in the community, but I also have it on my YouTube channel where I
Mm,
actually go over a lot of the paperwork that's required with like a subject to deal where you're taking over payments. So
okay.
if you're interested in that, I have a full like it's like an hour long training I think I went over. Let me see if I can find it
Yes.
real quick.
Do
Yeah,
you have one
yeah, I do. Yeah.
do you have one that share how to possibly wholesale one?
Yeah. Hmm. Um, I do. Let me see.
Well,
I have a couple. What I would do is I would go to that YouTube channel. It's just
yes.
at Evan Ragsdale.
Okay. Got it.
And just like that. I would go to that. There's some videos on there. There's one like why most investors fail at wholesaling subject to, so it talks about like how to do that. But then there's one a little bit further down that just says subject to paperwork explained,
Mhm.
and I would look at that one. And then there's some other videos on here like passive income, like kind of how to do like specifically what we talked about tonight, which is like creating more like passive income. There's
Mhm.
some training on that. So maybe watch some of those videos and let me
Oh,
know what you think. And if you have questions, like shoot me a comment or post in the group, and I'd love to hear from you, especially if
okay.
you're looking to
That
buy a
sounds like
personal
that'll
residence.
work.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, man.
Yes.
Super easy. So. I mean, getting talking to sellers and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of like the hard part is getting over that, to like where you get on the phone and talking to them. But
Yes.
once you have a seller that needs your help, it's not very difficult once you learn how to kind of pitch it. So happy to help with all that, man. It's good to see you on the Zoom call. I'm glad you showed up.
Yes. Thanks for
Cool.
having me.
Absolutely. All right. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Can't believe it's Wednesday. It's crazy. I'm also wondering one question. Do you think it would be better like to do like these Zoom calls at like a different time at some point? Because I've kind of considered doing them like I don't know if it was like either on the weekends, like at like a lunchtime or something, or like weekday. I don't know because I feel like it's so late that there's a lot of people that will message me and be like, "Hey, I want to be on here." Like I've had probably 20 people be like, I want to be on the calls, but it's like kind of late. And it's like,
Mm.
y'all feel the same way, or I don't know.
I mean, this works for me, but
Me too.
Yeah. Mm.
yeah,
It
this
sounds like
might, this might be the wrong audience to ask because we're all on the call.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
correct.
What would be another time though? I don't even know. Because like I don't want to do it on like a Saturday when
I
like
don't
kids.
think so. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. And because most people are at work.
I
Yeah.
know.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't know.
Or
Hey,
maybe later on in the evening,
Could do
yeah,
that.
maybe when people get off of work.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. I've thought about
Because
that. I have my lesson right before. Maybe I'd have to just move it to a different day. I don't know.
I do Uber Eats
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
catering, so I was able to
Cool.
just,
Dude,
take the time off to come.
love it, dude. Well, thanks for spending your time. I hope you'll have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Okay.
All right. See
Take
y'all.
care, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Peace.